fried chicken.
Hello and welcome to episode number 77 of Unrelenting. It seems like it's been a while since I've talked to you, Gene. Is that true?
It seems that way, but has it?
I don't know. Has it? It's all, everything. It's time is a very funny thing. Lunchtime doubly so.
Yeah. Can I point to something? You just played the theme.
You can point, sure. It's an audio podcast.
I know, but that was very solidly in the yellow the entirety of the theme.
Yeah.
And you're not even touching yellow.
I'm supposed to be touching yellow?
You're not supposed to be quieter than the theme music, dude.
I thought this is supposed to be a red podcast.
Well, it's pretty yellow, I'd say. Go China.
We need to just turn down. I need to turn down mix a little bit then.
Maybe.
It's the way it works.
I mean, I'm sure you run this through a
leveler.
That, exactly.
Right, even the last show that I wasn't on, except for the opening, I had to level it and put the magic in. I slotted you into your normal Gene slot on the and all of the processing, and I slotted Bemrose into mine. So if Bemrose sounded better, maybe that's why.
Yes. Well, I've told you that before. If you tend to make yourself sound the best in all your podcasts for some reason,
because that is one of the benefits of controlling
being
all
a producer,
right?
Exactly.
It's the way it works.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I always wonder. It's like, man, I sound so different on your podcast than I do on the one I produce.
You do sound a little lifeless on a lot of them. It's that microphone. That microphone's a very hot mic, so you should be sounding.
It is a hot mic.
You must have the big foam furry thing on again.
Well, I always have the big foam furry thing on.
No, you took it off once. It was like, wow, that was a revelation.
Okay. Yes. I did take it off once, but I generally have it on here because the foam furry thing is how I know I'm in the right position on the mic.
That would make sense.
If occasionally my nose touches the furry thing, I'm the right distance from the mic.
Right. It's the perfect amount. You want to get that proximity effect.
Yeah, and I hear people saying, yeah, I'm about 3 inches from the mic. I mean, are you crazy?
You're like, it's way too
somewhere
far.
Between 3/4 of an inch and an inch away.
It depends on the microphone, but yes, for
of course,
the dynamics, you want to be a little bit closer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've learned with this RE20, which is a lot better than the 320 plosive rejection, that I can do it without the foam ball. I just have to make sure it's on like a 45-degree angle. Because if you talk right into any microphone, you're going to pop.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of these things. They're all a little bit different.
They are.
So what video games have you been playing? What's been going on?
We'll get to video games. Hold on. I got a microphone thing. Did you see that the SM7B was on sale?
That's a rarity.
I don't know if it still is. It was selling for under $200.
No, that
Newegg. Brand new on Newegg, under $200. The apparently that microphone, the retail price on it was $199 when it came out, and it got so popular that the price went up by over $100.
Well, they may be celebrating. I had a little bit of mic envy watching our buddy Bandrew show on YouTube.
Well, why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. Because he has every mic known to man.
That's his whole show. That's like saying, I have a little car envy. I was watching Jay Leno's Garage.
Right, exactly.
What?
But they sent him the SM7B was celebrating, I think it's their 50th year, which would make sense.
Oh, maybe that's why they had the cheaper price.
It's possible. They put out it was not for sale to anybody, but they put out a limited edition with, the only thing they changed were the badges and the stuff on it. But they put out a special 50th anniversary edition and only sent it to people that is not for sale. So I'm like, dude, that's cool.
Oh, shit. You know what? I'll bet you that's what it was. I bet you they dropped the price to the original release price.
And if you can grab one while they're in stock.
And I didn't, and I should have.
Is there a damn good microphone?
I didn't think about it. I thought this would be a permanent price change, but now I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to go to Newegg and see if they're still going for that cheap price or not.
They are a quality dynamic microphone. They are.
I've never liked the way they look, though, I have to say.
Well, they're.
I don't like a cord coming out of the side of a microphone.
It is an oddity there. but it takes up less room. So if you're doing something on camera, I can see where people like it over the RE series from Electro Voice, which are the one that anytime you see, I loved watching anything from the olden days about radio. It's like, that's almost always the microphone. It was the microphone they used in Frasier as the set dressing, or maybe they really used it for those spoken parts because it has a very unique sound to it. The SM7B is a very dark microphone, but once you start EQing things, as we've talked about, the EQing makes a ton of difference.
So the prices on the SM7B right now range from $243 on the high end to $117 on the low end.
Really, for new? That's bizarre. You sure it's the SM7B microphone you're looking at?
SM7B. Go to Newegg, check it out.
Buy as many as you can or get price matching from the companies that do it.
Right.
Because usually it's like, oh, was this a mistake? Because on Amazon, they're still $400.
Yes, I saw that.
So Newegg, although Newegg, they used to be my go-to when I was building my own computers. This was before Amazon was a big thing.
Like 20 years ago plus.
And you had great selection. They had
free shipping back then too.
They did. Great pricing. They had financing. So if you bought it through their credit card, it was 0% for 12 months if you put enough on it. And that's how I built all my machines back in the day. But haven't they kind of turned into a third-party scammy site now, or are they still relatively good?
They're more like Amazon in the sense that they sell their own products, but they also carry a bunch of small, independent product sellers.
Like Amazon, like Walmart. I mean, this is why you're allowed to sell your ponchos on Amazon.
Right, exactly.
They're like anybody. You really just send us something, we'll put it up.
Yeah, and I have to say that they take damn near half, man. So me selling ponchos on Amazon is really more like me being a wholesaler to Amazon who's selling the ponchos.
Well, that's nice of you.
I know, right? That's nice of me to take up most of the cost of production and then give it to Amazon to make the profit on.
Yeah, letting Amazon make all that money. How is it? Yeah, I'm looking at this. Shure SM7B dynamic microphone new for $117.91. But it's shipped and sold from KYH Tech Lab, which leads me to believe that you might not get exactly a Shure SM7B.
Well, you may or you may not, but it definitely looks like it.
Right. Well,
and
okay, there's that.
I think what needs to happen is Bandrew needs to order one of these.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And do a side-by-side.
Absolutely.
Because if it sounds the same, I don't give a shit where they stole it from. Because you know how stuff happens in China. It's the same factory with a different label. And they can afford to sell it for cheap because it's basically manufactured in the off hours by the factory themselves directly.
It does ship from Hong Kong. That is not a surprise on this price.
No, that's not a surprise for that price point at all.
I'm gonna, Bandrew, order one of these and then compare the electronics on them.
He's got enough. He's got enough money coming into his show. He can afford to pay $120 to order one.
Well, yeah, he bought one of those Neumann $3,700 microphones.
Did he buy that or did he get it for free?
No, he bought that. He bought that. And that's his. It's great because that's the microphone he uses in every video, just as a comparison between videos.
Oh, it's a prop. Clearly, he's actually using a probably lavalier mic to record himself, and then he's using that as a prop.
No, because then the people will be like, "That sounds like crap."
Oh, there's great lavaliers. They're not cheap, but you get some awesome lavaliers, man.
Yeah, they're not quite going to match the $3,700 Neumann. I mean, they'd be more than good enough.
What does that mean? That's such a elitist thing to say. They're not going to match.
It's not going to have the sound quality, that open air feeling, that nice
for a voice.
Well, for voice, you're going to be able to understand it.
The professionals don't use Neumanns for talking.
No, it's a singing and
they use Neumann.
Yeah,
exactly. Neumann does not make a talkie mic. As far as I know.
So, hey, we're going back into the 1900s. We're getting a talkie.
It's the talkie mics. That's right. But if you look at the high-end lavaliers there, which you can easily spend $500 to $1,000 on the lavalier, maybe even more.
Oh, yeah, there's some great lavs.
Yeah, if you all the TV people on the news reporters, etc., they're using lavaliers.
And usually
or they're using the overhead mics, which are also really expensive. Yeah.
Which you can tell when O'Reilly's in his different house, when his main place he uses a lav, and then the other one he uses a boom, and the room obviously is not treated enough, and it's like you can tell immediately.
Why wouldn't you do it the other way around? I would think when you're traveling, you use a lav, and at home you can set up a boom so you're not as you're not plugged in. You don't have a wire running from you.
I think he's more of a tech Luddite, so I don't know if he knows how to get the audio from a lav then into. Because I think he has a producer who then edits the shows and puts them together. He's not doing that. I can guarantee you that much.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But
he seemed to be more like the kind of guy that would yell at somebody and have them do stuff.
Let's do it live.
Than the kind of guy who would do it himself.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Come on.
That sounds just like him.
I like Bill. He's got the attitude.
I know you do.
He's old. He's ornery, and he just don't care.
Yes, that's true.
But this is interesting. If anybody has ordered any of these, if we can't get Bandrew to, I want to know if this is really a Shure SM7B or if it comes in and it's like a SURE SM7B. You'll be able to notice there's a little difference somewhere in it.
Exactly.
But then the other one, free shipping from China, 183. Does Newegg have any of these that are from the United States and from
Shure? They do, but I think they're $300.
Yeah. That would make sense. I mean, I guess true. If you're looking for the look only.
Here's the only part that to me makes this. I mean, obviously, I'm a little suspicious of anything shipped from China, but here's the part that makes me wonder if these are actually identical. Is back in the day, in the film of days of cameras, so 80s, 90s, there was a substantial price difference between gray market and U.S. cameras. Like they're coming from China and Canon cameras, etc. So you could buy one here in the U.S. for $1,800 for the body, or you could get the exact same thing that was gray market coming from Japan, not China in this case, but Japan, and you would get it for $1,100-$1,200. I mean, it was like easily a 30% difference in price point.
But you have to know what you're buying.
The only real difference between them was in the one that came for cheaper had instructions in Japanese and the warranty for Japan. The one that you bought in the U.S. had instructions in English and a warranty for the U.S.
Well, it costs a lot of money to translate those instructions, obviously.
That's because they knew back then that you could sell stuff to Americans, they would pay a lot more money.
Well, before the internet, it was a lot harder to get things from other countries as well.
Yes. Like you couldn't just get stuff direct shipped from China or Japan. You have to have importers, and they all got to make money.
Now you just go to AliExpress and go, give me that. You can buy 100 of them for the same price as one and then sell the rest to your friends or on Amazon.
Exactly.
You can put them with your ponchos. I mean, the replacement windscreens for the SM7B from the United States are over $30 on.
I believe it.
On Newegg. Like you can get a whole microphone for that in China. But the reality is,
didn't John talk about how he's got a microphone that has a Chinese capsule, or he's bought a Chinese and it sounds just as good as something expensive? I can't remember which mic he was comparing.
He had a few.
This is like 3-4 years ago.
He's been using the Heil PR40 with the old fashioned, and I used these when I first started podcasting. The gooseneck pop filters. And oh my God, those things are a pain in the ass. They move, and you can always, that's the problem on No Agenda, is you can hear it when that then hits the show, hits the capsule, because the thing's going to do that. And there is a specialty pop filter that they make, which would fit on our microphones as well, but they're made for the PR40. If you've ever watched Leo Laporte shows, he uses them. They kind of clip onto it, and then it's a permanent little pop filter. So it's a similar thing. It's the ring with the fabric, but it's made to attach to the microphone. So once it's on, it's not moving. It attaches directly to the microphone. So I put one of the link to one of those up, and it was like a $60 one. It was not a cheap one. I'm like, oh, can I recommend one of these? And JCD's like, I'm not made of money. Like, go steal one from Leo then.
Yeah, you could have back then.
Just go into Leo's place, just unhook the one. Oh, let me take a look at one of these.
Right, well, I just ordered one, so at least I'll be able to plug it in here if Bandrew doesn't. And
with a $117 mic?
Yeah.
This will be an interesting comparison.
Yeah. I mean, how bad could it be?
Do you have an actual SM7B as well?
I do not know.
See, I do. So if we can just test them directly.
Well, go ahead and you order one then.
I don't want to order one. I know it's going to be a SURE, not an SHURE.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Shure Love You Long Time microphone.
It might be. But again, I have experience in getting products way cheaper if they're coming directly from the manufacturing place.
And the reality is, I'm a mic nerd and I like the good microphones. I know I can get more than good enough quality out of like $100 microphone to do a podcast with EQing and processing and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
When there's every now and then Bandrew comes across a microphone that's like $30 or $40 and it's like, yeah, that sounds fine, dude. That sounds more than good enough for most people to get into podcasting.
Yeah. And I enjoy watching occasionally videos of direct head-to-head comparisons of things that are either cameras, what do you call those stupid things? The cameras on your monitor, the webcams. That's the word I was
cameras on your monitor.
I like not real cameras, but like cameras for shooting you in front of a green screen kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, and the reality is now the cameras that come inside of the better webcams and in cell phones are way better than what was commercially used for things like 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Although still the one thing you don't get with any of them, and I have the weight. So I wouldn't say I've done the Bandrew here, but I ordered way too many webcams when I started doing the show with video on Griffcast.
How many webcams do you need?
Yeah, you need one, but I kept wanting to find the best one.
Now, did you ever try the Brio from Logitech?
I've got the Brio sitting right next to me. It's not plugged in because it's not very good.
It's a decent one compared to like the 920s and what's better than the Brio?
The best one of all of them that I've tried. I have the Brio. I've got the one from Stream Deck guys. I've got 3 different Logitech models. And then I've got a couple of no-name brands that, were just being pushed on me on Amazon. So I thought I would try them. But the best one is still the Logitech, the original 4K that Logitech came out with for like $400 4 years ago. And it still has the best quality of all of them.
I thought the Brio was the first one. What's the model number on the...
I'll tell you. I need to log into it.
We got some nerd talk right here on Unrelenting. We have Ned coming in with
you were asking me about video games. It's the
a 10,000 Satoshi.
It
boost.
Is a Brio. Yeah, it is a Brio. But but they have a new Brio model, and so that's the one that's sitting on my desk right now. It's not very good.
Yeah, I have the first Brio, and I was like blown away by how good that was compared to the 920. That was out before that.
So you've got the 4K one. Yeah.
Ned 10,000 Satoshi says, I love whatever this show is called with Surgeon and Durometer O. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We thank you for listening live when we do these shows early in the mornings on Fridays or Mondays or Thursdays or whatever day they happen to be.
Logitech just bought somebody. Who did they buy?
They're always, they always buying somebody?
They do, but they bought somebody. They bought the competitor to Stream Deck.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't recall the name of the company, but I'm sure you've seen them. Anytime on Amazon you go.
Well, is it the Elgato's the Stream Deck, right?
Yeah, Elgato Stream Deck. And then there's always, like, whenever you're shopping for Stream Decks, there's always another thingy, another company's product that is similar functionality wise, but it's the one that has 3 dials on each side.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? What?
Is it Loop Deck?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
so I think they just bought them.
Loop Deck, yes.
Yeah, there you go. So they're going full on head-to-head competition with Elgato here, which, they've been around a lot longer than Elgato, but Logitech started its life as a video game controller and mouse company.
Oh, yeah, they made the mouse that I had that lasted like 8 years was at Logitech.
Mm-hmm. I'll bet you I still have Logitech mice that still work that are over a decade old.
Yeah, the one I was going to try to replace the battery and I totally borked it. So I just bought a new one, which was just as good.
And cost as much as the battery.
Probably. NetNet says Logitech also just bought Yeti. That's true as well.
That was a previous acquisition for him. And that was a big one because that I actually used. I bought in fact, we did a test a while ago and you didn't like it, I don't think, but I set up a Logitech headset that is using a Yeti microphone technology.
Yeah, that wasn't great sounding. I mean, it
wasn't great sounding, but I think it was still better than any other headset mic I've ever tried.
There was one I wanted to try. It was there was a professional one. Who put it out? Maybe it was Heil has one that they aim towards like professional sportscasting and that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Which maybe is worth trying because the Heil microphones are great as well.
The Logitech headset, and I've got 3 of them here that I bought. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, 2 of them are still in boxes. But they're very reasonably priced. I want to say they were around $150, $160, which is maybe like a $30 premium over competing brands. But they have DSPs in them, which is very cool. But they can also the microphone unplugs, so you could plug in a lavalier mic into that headset, like a high-end lavalier, and then have the that high-end lavalier going through the DSP.
It's nice to have choices. I mean, originally when I start doing the podcasting, I was using a cheap headset, and you think, wow, this would be more convenient because I can move around and I can turn my head and I don't have to worry about it. But then it turned out like, nah, it sounds like crap. So
most headset mics really do. And then I've got, I should have Bandrew buy this one too. I need to reach out to Bandrew. Where does he hang out?
He has a Discord. You can get him into the comments on the YouTubes. He also is
he
on
at Bandrew on the No Agenda Social.
Yes, he is on No Agenda Social.
Okay, I'll send him a direct message because I have a mic that I've been buying for people, which is the best sounding cheap mic that I found. I'd have to go on Amazon and look.
Now you don't know
history.
Okay, so
it's some generic brand bullshit, but it's been available for about 3 years, and I've been buying them for about 3 years. And when I say buying them, when I play video games with people, it's usually on Discord. And if I don't like the way they sound on Discord, if they're hard to understand, I just say, dude, DM me your address. I'll send you a microphone.
Oh, wait. So if I want like a really good microphone, I just need to be like,
hey, Jan, how you doing, everybody out there?
Oh, what'd you do? You sound so much better. Oh, yeah. Keep that. That's a good setting. I don't know why you haven't been using that the whole time. I'm digging that.
That's the way everybody wants it from now on.
I mean, honestly, that's the way that when I hear your other show, that's the way it sounds.
It's like the teacher from the Peanuts series. Are the clips clear when Larry and I play the clips? The clips are fine. It's the voices, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that's your Larry voice.
Now, did you enjoy doing a 2-hour show with Bemrose?
Doing a 2-hour show with Bemrose is like doing a 2-hour show alone. Because there's not a single thing we disagree on.
Wow, that's interesting. You're like the same guy.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You have the same mind.
I mean, I'm quasi-employed.
Oh, yeah. He needs a gig. So if anybody needs a programmer for anything, reach out to
or
Bemrose.
Mostly like ideally somebody that needs a complainer.
You need
that would be a great job he could succeed at.
You could do right. So somebody, hey, here's the pitch then. Do you have too many yes men in your life? You need Ryan Bemrose.
Do you need a no man?
Hire Ryan. He will disagree with you for no apparent reason.
Exactly.
But he wasn't disagreeing with you. That's weird. You guys have like a bromance going on.
It was funny because we got done. What is your thing with accusing people of getting a room and having a bromance? Something's a little too gay in your life right now because that seems to be on top of mind for you.
Nope. Just calling it the way I see it. That's all.
That's what I mean. You keep seeing gay relationships everywhere.
Probably because that's what's in the media today.
Go woke. You finally succumb.
No, Just like, what's this everywhere, man? I can't get away from it. Not even on Unrelenting with Bemrose and Gene. And I like because I'm doing the rock and roll
your
pre-show.
new title for the show too, by the way.
I was like, well, if you're going to send
creative.
it to me to post it, it's like, well, I need an opening.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I wondered which one was going to be like, wait, I'm not the sidekick. Can two sidekicks carry a show? Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
But that's like I said, I threw him into my channel and you into the normal channel. So you got the normal Gene processing and he got the full Darren O. So that maybe could be helpful.
He might be asking for the full Darren O next time.
You never know. Like, give me that. I like that. Make it sound good. Make it sound good. But as we all learned, the Net Neds and the CSBs and the Dale from Down Under, the people that are supporting the show, there's a lot less of them. So, when people complain that the shows aren't happening, it's like other stuff is going on in the world. And that's we're the dumb.
My watch updated. Cool.
Really? Now, will it do extra things?
It's giving me a lot more detailed information about my heart rate variability.
Is that good? Is your heart rate continuing to beat?
I mean, it's still beating, so that's as far as I know. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that is usually a plus.
Yeah.
Is there a heartbeat? Yes. Oh,
more
good.
Data.
Hi, I see you're alive this morning, Gene. Thank you for updating your watch.
Exactly. Well, it updates itself.
But we were the dumb podcasters who weren't making thousands of dollars. I mean, No Agenda, again, this week had somebody come in with a show number donation. So it was like 15, whatever it was. It's like, yeah, that takes us a while to reach that one donation. We're the dummies that do shows live on a schedule, which is the biggest pain in the ass. Because if we weren't live on a schedule, you and I could like take one afternoon and pump out 3 shows and release them over 3 weeks, and nobody would ever know that it was done over 3 weeks.
Given the topics that we cover, absolutely right.
So, which would be a lot smarter. Then it'd be like, oh, we could just take a few weeks off. Nobody will even know.
Yeah. Well, I remember the name of I don't remember the name of the dude, but the first podcaster to break $1 million. That was many years ago at this point, but that was one of his advice things, or I guess when he described how he does his podcast, is he says, take 1 day a week to record everything. And then he would record enough content for the whole week in 1 day. It was a full day, 8 hours of recording. And then the next day, everything would be edited and chopped up and the ads placed in. And then it would have content that would last them 7 days from that.
It's a beautiful way to go.
He was working all week, but each task was just on a different day.
Right. Well, yeah, there is a lot of preparation. Bemrose, the first question he asked me during Grumpy Old Ben's on Wednesday, I heard there's no preparation at all for Unrelenting. I'm like, well, why would there be? What do you mean preparation?
He was surprised. He was definitely surprised at that. Yeah.
Like, you guys don't put together topics? Well, how do you know what you're going to, how do you have enough to talk about?
Want to?
Right.
Yeah.
That would take us in a completely different direction. Like,
yeah. It's like, well, what are we doing? A show about tech or something?
Right. Well, no, because those are all failing except for the one done by the guy that left Leo. So I'm still in complete disbelief that Tom Merritt and Sarah Lane can pull in like $50,000 a month on their Patreon for their crappy little show.
That is shockingly surprising.
It is. Because it's not a good show. If it was a good show, I'd be like, okay, well, they had the audience.
Well, neither one of them are experts at anything.
No.
They're just Leo sidekicks.
And they can talk.
What the hell?
Well,
sidekicks
he can talk.
Doing a podcast? What the hell's that all about?
Is that right? Sounds a lot like one of these things we've heard recently. But there was a guy on YouTube, I'm blaming you, well, and riding the bike and trying to get healthier, which is leading me to a lot more YouTube time.
Yes.
And rather than just following, because I've been having so much more YouTube time, rather than just going through the people that I subscribe to, I've been going more through the, hey, we recommend this.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who claims to have sold an Amazon publishing business for like $1 million, and now he's rebuilding one. Is there big money in doing crappy books on Amazon? And I'm not saying your books are crappy, but I know you've sold books. Is there really a market?
I got to ship over 100 books like this weekend. I need to do it. I ran a promotion, or somebody ran a promotion for me that got people free books, so I need to actually fulfill it.
Well, free for who? Who's paying for these books?
I'm paying for them.
See, that's a bad business.
It's going to cost me about $1,000.
Well, thank you. Send out some free books to our listeners. And
Well, I would love to. If our listeners were in a business that could afford to hire me, I would be happy to send them a free book.
that's part of the plan. I get it.
As far as I know, none of the demographic of this podcast are people that hire me.
Or have jobs. So, I mean, there's that.
Well, I wouldn't say 100% of them don't have jobs. I would just say my co-hosts generally don't have jobs.
Well, no, this is my job, which is sad. But
sure.
This guy was showing, and you think about all these different types of books, and the one that really never Ned wants to know what
romance novels.
Well, while I talk about this, you figure out how you want to answer this question from Ned.
Okay.
What does Sir Gene do? I mean,
it's a good question.
But he was showing, this guy on YouTube was showing a bunch of, and he had ways to pull up how much each title was selling. I'm sure there are services that do this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And these were adult coloring books.
Oh my God.
I know. And there was big money in these things.
Ugh.
I know, but it's like there was big money in these things. And I'm like, wait, how hard?
That's disgusting.
I know. How hard would this be at this point to go into, especially now with AI, go into
when
an
you
AI?
say adult coloring book, you're talking about like anime, MAGA, skimpy looking Japanese girls with big ears.
Not even.
That you color yourself.
Not even. I mean, they're aimed towards an adult market, but they are not adult in the 18 and over way. They could be things like intricate, Day of the Dead was one of them, so it's these kind of.
Is there like this is the fucking problem with millennials. They don't grow up.
Right.
They literally don't grow up. They're still mentally teenagers.
It's like, here are ways for you to relax. I know
it's not all millennials. It's just a damn good chunk of them.
Like, go buy a coloring book. And I'm like, well, how hard could this be to create some AI art?
Now, according to my watch, you're getting my blood pressure up.
Good. I need a watch that can do the blood pressure as well. That's still the harder one to get. Is there a watch now? Well, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole quite yet, but I want to know if there's one that's accurate.
It's not our show, apparently, unless there's health issue problem talk.
Right. Has anybody died this week?
Yes.
Is anybody in the hospital? That's a
standard component of our show is health problems, apparently.
We keep, because we'd like to stay alive. That's part of the gig.
The only thing I would say that's relatively new that I learned from watching House MD is that if you're taking vitamin D, you should always take vitamin K and vitamin B12 at the same time.
See, that's why they all come in one little package now.
No, mine don't. I have 3 different bottles for each of those.
I mean, you could. Well, you have 3 different bottles for each? Wait, then you have a lot of bottles.
No, that's not what I meant. You know what I mean?
I do.
Each one is in a separate bottle.
The D and K2, though, I have in the same one now.
Yeah, which is handy. I don't trust the whole take a single pill multivitamin. There's no way that works because I probably have about 30 different vitamins I take every day at this point. It's gotten out of control.
I mean, I hear that they
all come in different, different. My entire countertop of my bathroom is nothing but pills now.
Like 4,000 different bottles. What you need is an automated system that just all the pills come down, you open your mouth and they go.
You can order that. Amazon has Pill Pack, which it lets you select what all you want and
comes
packaged in one day little baggies.
Which isn't a bad idea. I mean,
I don't want to pay more than the damn stuff is worth. You know what I mean?
I just want to know how many pounds of pills you're taking a day now.
Oh, it's not a pound. Come on.
How many handfuls?
It's maybe 2 handfuls. That's it.
2 handfuls, like what, 5 times a day or just for the whole day?
The whole day.
I guess that's not too bad.
I mean, it's not 40. I'm exaggerating, but it's probably realistically about 20.
And I don't know what made the difference, but after taking the taurine, like 3 to 4 grams a day, the arrhythmias have disappeared. So,
good.
I mean, it could also be the other stuff.
It is definitely utilized in creation of muscle cells. So,
but back to the coloring books, I'm like,
yes,
creating AI art at this point is any idiot can do it.
Pretty much.
And then you
CSB.
He's like, I'm the guy creating it. Pay me. And you strip out. I mean, there's some very easy little filters you can add to Photoshop that basically take any image and give you a coloring book page. So, I mean, it looks for the lines, in the in the image of different colors, and then it creates those lines. Like, how hard could it be to come up with some of these things?
Mm-hmm.
And then just pump these things out on Amazon and make way more money than we are podcasting. Why don't we have a publishing empire here?
Yes, why indeed?
Right? That's my question. And now that the AI can basically write books for you, we should just be pumping out the no agenda, unrelenting
Poorly written
novels.
books.
Mm-hmm. Just pumping them out, man.
It's a thing. Yeah.
And it was interesting. This guy showed how you can use AI for writing. And he's like, it shouldn't replace you, which is good, because if the AI is replacing you, then there's no point in using it. But there are, I think one was like Originality AI. There were a few different websites where you could go and you can put text into it, and it would tell you its guess on whether it was created by AI or not. And when you use something from like a Chat GPT direct, if you cut and paste it, this thing's going to be like 97, 98% AI. He's like, so what you want to do is like, here's another service that goes sentence by sentence and rewords those sentences, rephrases those things.
Makes sense.
And using the pro version of Grammarly. He's like, well, if you just use the pro version of Grammarly and say, accept all of their suggestions. Then
don't do that though. Grammarly is woker than hell. I canceled my subscription to them.
Who is a good comparison to
I'll
that?
I'll tell you who I use. It's the exact same thing from a different company. Let me look it up.
And how did Grammarly get woke and just looking at your
It's
grammar?
a Ukrainian company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they will correct your stuff to not say he and him. They'll say them automatically.
You're like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I say.
But
so this thing is called
drum roll, please.
Well, don't start with the drum roll until it's called Pro Writing Aid. That's a great name.
I've actually heard of that, but it's like, it seems like, again, like the cheap Chinese knockoff, because we need to come up with a good name.
Than Grammarly.
Well, what does it do? It's a pro writing aid. Well, we should call it Pro Writing Aid. Oh, well, that makes sense.
It's I think it's like $140 a year, something like that.
Not bad. It's about what Grammarly Pro is, I think.
I think that was 120. Yeah.
Now, if you take this AI generated text and you put it through one of those, the end result is, it doesn't seem like AI text anymore, which is hilarious because it's double AI'd.
It's double AI. That's the thing. You're exactly right. This thing also has a plagiarism check.
Yes, as Grammarly did.
Oh, I didn't? Okay, I didn't realize Grammarly had that.
Which is good if you're using the stuff that you let AI create, because you don't really know where this stuff comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to me because we know that it's taking a bunch of different things and recombining them. And I was playing around with one of these. It was, instead of stable diffusion, it was like unstable diffusion, which was one of the forks, because stable diffusion went all, oh no, you can't do anything that maybe shows some titties. Oh no. And this was an offshoot of that. And they give you like 45 free images a day to mess around with. And sometimes the quality absolutely sucks, but on other times the quality is great for things that you want to give it a little bit more leeway with. So if you don't have to be extremely specific, but it is very interesting to me that you can type in, go like, Taylor Swift, whatever, and it will give you what looks like a photograph that I couldn't tell isn't real, which leads you down that deep going into the next presidential election. I know there was some of these that have already come out like, Donald Trump on January 6th in the middle of the riot. It's like these kind of images are going to be so easy to create at this point. It is, you cannot believe anything you see. I don't know why you would ever need a bunch of different types of artists at this point now, because you could just type stuff in.
I'll tell you what you can't believe anymore is you can't believe any video or photo evidence in court.
Exactly.
Because now it's all fake, possible at least.
Which ruins a lot of stuff. I mean, you can even go, hey, look.
You have to rely on eyewitnesses now only.
Exactly. Which is very interesting because for years we've had the, hey, look, here's our security camera footage. Well, fuck, you can't believe that now.
Well, okay, there is that exception. Security cameras have, at least the good ones, or I should say, not the cameras themselves, but the video recorders for security, they have time code and authenticity, or authentication. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, there's a way that they ensure that if you modify anything, then it doesn't. It's
Oh, well, that would be
It's
interesting
noticeable.
if it's basically creating a hash frame by frame.
yeah, effectively that's what it's doing. It's like a running hash, frame to frame to frame. So if any one frame is modified or taken out, then the rest of the hash fails.
So the hash would have to be basically stored somewhere else, because otherwise the people that are trying to create the new,
Well, I mean, you could recreate the hash if you know the algorithm, which you don't.
that would be true. That would be true.
So and I think all of them at this point do it, because I remember this first came up in my system for my cameras back like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Because you're like, well, how do you know this is real now?
Yeah. It's like when I have my bedroom cam running, I need to make sure that the time code is exactly correct.
And what are you recording in your bedroom cam, Gene?
Any interactions with somebody could sue me.
Oh, well, see, okay. It's the Patrick Kane thing.
Who's he?
He is a superstar that was on the Blackhawks back in the day.
Uh,
And he had a woman claim that he did
Mhm.
things to her in his home. And he was like, hey, here's my whole security system. Here's
Yep.
what happened. And they're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, case dismissed.
There
It's
you
like,
go.
you need to protect yourself. But this is interesting because I've seen some threads on this, which I understand following threads on the internet, always bad. But this was more interesting because it was an artist kind of community, and they were talking about the things like what Adobe can do now with the generative fill, because
Yeah.
you can very easily go in and change the location where somebody is. You can change the clothing they're wearing.
This episode brought to you by Adobe.
Brought to you by Adobe, man. And the problem with that would be, well, how do you know when a photograph or an image that you're looking at, because it's not really a photograph, when an image you're looking at online has been altered?
Yeah.
And there were some people that were like, well, they should put in some kind of watermark so you could trace it back. And people are like, fuck you. You know what that would, again, this is the answer to everything.
Well,
which
we
is,
have this. I mean, there's EXIF data that when you take a photo with a camera that's in there, which has, it includes also a checksum. So you do have, back in the day, there was a large debate. And when I say back in the day, I mean like 15 years ago. There's a lot of
So
back in
long
the
ago.
days. This one is 15 years ago. But when digital cameras got to the level where professionals were using them, not just hobbyists, meaning they were, we started getting 20 megapixel plus cameras. There was a lot of us, myself in the group, that were photography purists. And so we were, talking about how really most photography that is coming out isn't photography. It's collages, it's compositions. It's taking something that came out of a camera, combining it with other things that came out a different day and time, and then coming up with what might be a very pretty image.
Right.
But it certainly is not the image that the artist saw while they were looking through the lens. And so we started a group called Through the Lens, which required that you only post things directly that came out of a camera. And one of the ways to ensure that is to then look at the hash on the EXIF and make sure that the file hadn't been modified since the camera originally created it.
well, and that's the interesting point now.
Because there is I just finished that thought. There is a particular art of photography, which is mostly going away and being replaced with Photoshop. And Photoshop's been around forever, but Photoshop used to simply do things like allow you to change contrast, change the gamma of an image, change the depth of an image, going from 24 to 16-bit or whatever. It wasn't, you could do things that were purely artistic in Photoshop, but you could also do fairly minimal changes Later, Adobe released a product that was separate specifically for doing those things called Lightroom. And then Lightroom, for the most part, is tweaks to photos, not complete composition changes.
Right.
But right now, you're hard pressed to find an image which wasn't substantially modified in Photoshop or a similar program on almost any website. There are very few images utilized that came directly out of a camera. And that's one of the things that's always fun to get compliments on, is to say somebody, how the hell did you get that in your camera? It's like, well, sometimes it takes a long time. Like I remember being in a location in Phoenix to get a particular shot of a moon, a full moon between two palm trees on top of a mountain. To do that, I had to be at that location on a particular day of the year at a particular time.
Right.
And so I went there for several days, and I spent one day scouting and planning where I'm going to set up the camera and everything else, because the shifting of the moon would be just by a few degrees from that. And then the next day, I actually came out to do the set of photos. Like, that shit takes actual work, but you could have just done it in Photoshop.
Yes, in
less
like
time
13 seconds.
by copy and pasting and moving. Yeah, exactly. So that's the difference between art and not art, as far as I'm concerned.
And they look the same. That is.
Oh, yeah, they look exactly the same. It's kind of like, do you want the Mona Lisa or do you want a poster of the Mona Lisa?
Whichever one's cheaper, please.
Yeah, I'll take the original.
Would be nice. But there is a whole new skill set. I mean, well, that is, maybe there's not. But it's that. Before,
and now you just say, AI, generate me an image of a full moon between two palm trees on top of a mountain based on this location in Arizona. And boom, it just spits it out.
Yeah.
Of course, the moon has 4 fingers.
Well, it has not figured out hands yet, the AI.
No.
But it's interesting.
I've said for a long time, it's not that the AI hasn't figured out hands. It's that this is the standard AI detection mechanism that is built into all the generative AI systems out there, is that it's not allowed to do hands correctly.
But here's the thing. It will do them correctly, just not all the time. And here's the interesting thing. So playing around with the unstable diffusion, I haven't tried Midjourney yet. I need to. Now they don't do free.
Fun.
Yeah, so I have to actually pay and do that.
I need to cancel it.
You see, there you go. Or just give me your login so I can create a bunch of images, and then you can cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about talking about how to get the proper shot in that is I was watching YouTube again yesterday, and there were a couple of creators that went in with Marquez Brownlee, who's like the biggest tech guy.
Yeah, which I like watching that dude. He's kind of like not particularly big black dude.
Yeah. Well, he is like almost like, I think he's 6 foot something. I mean, he's a big guy.
He's super skinny.
Well, he is skinny.
Yeah.
He is skinny. I like the way he came out with the shoe brand, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was
but I watched his stuff for many years, because he seems to, I don't know how, but he was like one of the first guys to get invited to Tesla for free test drives. He's always been getting shit. Like, he's one of those guys that get the Apple goggles before they're released.
Right.
Like, he's on the list.
He's like the tech guy. He's been doing the tech reviews since he was 13.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's the notoriety he originally had, was he was a kid.
And now he has a studio in New York that is, I think he said the rent was $30,000 a month.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's New York, so it's probably about the same size studio somewhere else for $3,000 a month.
Possibly. But he was talking about, there are so many tech reviewers out there that people can go get the information pretty much anywhere.
You used to be one of those, didn't you?
Yeah. You could go get the information anywhere. So how do we make things different? And now he's got one room that's only an overhead camera set up, and they've got like 50 different things that you can put down. So if you want to look like a marble table, it's that. If you want to look like a wood table, it's that. But he had an older robotic system that he had now replaced. So there's basically a camera on a robotic arm. So if you are watching one of his videos, and it looks like the camera is flying around, then all of a sudden gets right to the right spot and stops.
Mm-hmm.
This is a $250,000 robot.
Yeah. You know, there's a Kickstarter for a robot arm going on right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, a buddy of mine sent it to me because I love robot arms, always have.
And that's what it's like. We have to have a whole room for this. And he's like, it's obviously wasn't worth the $250,000. He's like, but if you want to stay ahead of the curve and get shots, he's like, I want people watching the videos going, how the fuck did he get that shot?
He could also do it with a drone for a lot less money.
And not with the accuracy and the quickness that the robot arm can do indoors. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it is.
Indoors.
It's overkill. Yeah, but it's not going to go up, down, make the real quick changes, and the camera is going to be exactly where you want. I mean, you could do some really cool stuff with drones, but $250,000, like that is the level of money that's being put into.
It's unnecessary. You could make it for a lot cheaper than that.
Because exactly.
The reason it's $250,000 is because that robot is moving a 5-pound camera, but it's made to move 500-pound parts. It's hydraulic, and it is meant for much heavier weights than what a camera weighs.
I'm sure it could be.
Could you do it? Yes. You could use the same robot both for building a car and holding up a camera.
Well, it's not exactly that. It's on the same technology. It isn't one of those actual. This is a company that are doing these things for this kind of work, but the reality is just think about
what they're
people
making their own robots. I'm sure they're outsourcing those to existing robotics.
Oh yeah, well they bought this from somebody for $250,000. But it's like, how far this kid starting at 13 years old with a little webcam, doing a YouTube channel, and it's like, and you've grown it into, I don't even want to know how many millions they're making a year on the content he puts out. Because I think he's got like 15 million. He's very pervasive,
plus. Though. He has multiple channels that he's on. He's on all the time. He comes up all the time in my recommendations.
Well, he has always been at the forefront.
Now that you're watching YouTube like me.
Oh, no, I don't know if I'd say that.
This show is kind of turned into a YouTube review now.
Oh, maybe that's our shtick.
Except we'd still have to do a video show if we want to make any actual money.
Yeah. Gene, you see that on YouTube? Yeah. Look at this guy. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
Why are you doing a Leo Laporte impression?
I was trying to do Beavis. Was that Leo?
It kind of sounded Leo-ish.
Wow, I never really, maybe really. That could be Leo. I saw
a clip from Leo's show the other day. It is sad. There's Leo sitting surrounded by 4 monitors.
I know.
Heads.
That started like during COVID, right?
It did. And that's it. That's the show. Like nobody wants to show up to his house anymore.
I think does he have a studio, or is it to come over to his home and he shows up in a bathrobe?
Well, he used to have a studio, but I think his ex-wife took that.
The reality is you don't need a studio anymore, but he still has it. But it does look very strange. I would rather just have the close shot on Leo and then cut to the people remotely. There's no reason to have the
monitor heads.
Yes.
I know. It is dystopian is what it looks like.
I don't like it. I don't like the vibe. I don't think I've watched a This Week in Tech, though, since John C. Dvorak was on the last episode he was on, which has been a few years now.
Oh, it's been like a decade, yeah.
No, he was on one. He got him in with a bottle of,
oh, did he?
It was like really expensive Hennessy or something. JC, it was what, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
I thought they had a major disagreement about COVID.
That may have been. I don't know the...
like Leo basically said, anyone that doesn't take a shot can go fuck themselves and they'll never be on my show.
Could be. I didn't follow it closely enough to know. But the Leo show used to be good way back in the day. But then again,
I can tell you what I think the issue is Leo is a talent. And he became the producer and CEO. And he's not particularly good at either one of those things.
He's a radio guy.
Well, he's radio or video. He's a talent. He's a guy that should show up, do his stuff,
be given a script,
and then go home and not think about the show.
It was a $3,000 bottle of cognac that got JCD in there. When was that blitzed? It was, they had a fun time drinking it. I can tell you that.
Oh, they drank it on the show?
Yeah.
Geez, I would have expected Leo. I would have expected JCD just to take it home.
Take the bottle and run. Yeah.
Hell, that's what I would have done. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'll take this and sell it.
See you later. And he should have grabbed one of those pop filters while he was there.
Yeah.
I
I
need to order
a PR Heil microphone.
Yeah, he's using the PR40, which is the microphone I started with after I had a cheap condenser microphone, which did a decent job. But the condenser, that was when I had the studio down in the basement, which is now carpetless, that I was sitting at the table where my mixing board and everything was, because that was old school.
Sitting at the table
with the big mixing. Little Luca is that, it's a good track, actually.
It's a great track. You know, that's the track that created MP3.
Really?
Yeah.
Would make sense. It has the dynamic
if you read
range.
the history from Fraunhofer of their process for inventing or creating the MP3 format, they actually mentioned that Tom's Diner was the test song. So that's the song that they used while creating the compression format to test for errors.
Interesting. What's a good song to do that? Because it's not a.
And I listened to the hell out of that song when they first came out. I've got all of Suzanne Vega's stuff. Well, her old stuff. I don't know if there's any new stuff,
but
I used
still
to have that.
I've got some bootlegs
in my CDs in my car, like back in the 90s.
Wow, you sound like such a boomer. In my CDs, in my gas powered car,
in the 90s.
In the 90s,
yes.
Yeah.
30 years ago, the car I was driving had a disc changer in it. And I always
was it a 6 disc, a 10 disc, 100 disc? What'd you have in the car?
I had an 18 disc.
Ooh, now see, that was big money at the time.
Yeah, it was big money.
It was probably
like
bigger
$2,000.
than the car.
No, it wasn't bigger than the car. No, it was like $2,000.
But I remember sitting there in like the middle of the basement with my headphones on, hearing this, zzz, and I'm like, "Where the hell is that coming from?"
No, it's a ground loop noise.
No, it
Coming
was
from my
the.
mic.
It was the refrigerator in the other corner of the basement that the the condenser was picking up. Like, damn.
Wow.
This is why I knew I had to get to dynamic microphones real quick.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to pick up the refrigerator at the other side of the room. And it's not even a big refrigerator. You know, it's just one of them little ones. But it was making more than enough noise. But the PR40 is a nice mic.
Is it? Yeah, I never had one. I got my my big monitor finally plugged into the Mac.
Define big. I mean, this is your main monitor, you mean?
It's a 4K 43-inch.
See, I've only got the 4K. What was this? I told you when I got this, like a 36 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have monitor envy. Now, I know there was a lot of talk going on No Agenda Social. You and CSB were talking hot CPU talk. Like, is your CPU
out of context?
Is your CPU hotter than mine? Oh, yeah.
It is. My CPU is running over 300.
Nice. Well, you've got the M2. He has the M1, and now he wants the M3 because.
Yeah, well, we both want the M3.
So, when you get the M3, can you just send your M2 over to me, and that way?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I actually had a BMW M2.
Well, see, I would rather have the Apple M2 right now because otherwise, the BMW I'd probably crash.
That was a very fun car. I had a lot of fun with it. Like, actually, I didn't have as much fun with that car as I expected. I only put on 4,500 miles in 2 years on it.
Until it wound up in the junkyard, or you sold it?
No, it was a lease. I had a 2-year lease.
I was like, I thought this was going to be a story of I took an off ramp at 90 miles an hour.
No craziness. No, that's the opposite. Is I did not drive it enough. So it was a $30,000 2-year lease. If that gives you some context of how sad I am right now.
Yeah. You wish you had it back.
I mean, I don't know that here's the thing. If you get a Beamer, you really should lease it and not buy it because the cost of maintenance and repairing those things is really high. And so as long as it's under warranty, which is 3 years, you're okay. But you really don't want to have a BMW that's older than 3 years old because the price of the car depreciates very fast, but the cost of getting anything done on the car, any kind of fixes, is really high. So pretty soon you're going to end up with a vehicle that costs more to fix than to keep. So that's a little bit of advice about buying a BMW
or not buying
one. Lease it instead of buy it. But I don't know why I did a 2-year instead of a 3-year. I was just kind of stupid, I guess. But I ended up doing a 2-year lease on that car. And, I did really enjoy it. I drove it down to the coast, to the to SpaceX. I drove it out to what the hell is that place called? Sonoma, Arizona.
Got it out in the desert.
Is it Sonoma? Sonora? What the hell is it called?
What's Sonoma's California, right? Isn't that like wine
right.
country?
What's the place in Arizona called?
Sedona? Is it Sedona?
Sedona.
Yeah.
That's right. Drove it out to Sedona. Did a nice road trip on it. Got pulled over twice for having windows that are too dark, and they weren't.
You're like, I'm a drug dealer. Come on.
Yeah.
I am from Russian embassy. I've got immunity.
It had ceramic window coating, which is really cool.
Is it for the bullets to bounce right off of?
Yeah, exactly. It's good stuff. No, it's so that light comes out, but you can't see in.
Which is what you want in a car.
Yeah, I think so. So I really enjoyed the car. I wish I would have enjoyed it more on the road, though, unfortunately. But yeah, that thing was. So there's another reason that I kind of didn't end up keeping it longer along, aside from the cost of maintenance on Beamers. And that is, this thing was such a gas hog. This thing drank gasoline like it was going out of style.
Dude, you have not had a 1977 Delta 88.
I have had a 1979 Delta 88. Thank you very much.
Very close.
I drove that car.
Now, all the gas usage with way less performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine was a station wagon, by the way.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
You
Delta
must have been
88.
picking up chicks left and right in the 79.
It was red Woody. It was a red and Woody 1979 Delta 88.
I didn't even know they made those in a Woody style.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Look it up. That was a great car. I mean, that car was very functional. I enjoyed the hell out of that car. That was fully loaded. Power, everything is great. But anyway, getting back to the Beamer, so the other issue was I averaged 11 miles to the gallon.
Damn, nice.
And when it was in its track mode, it was getting about 6 miles to the gallon. So
what was the tank, man? How many miles could you go?
It's a 2-person car, dude. It's literally a little tiny thing that was getting such shitty mileage.
That's hilarious.
Now, some people would say, well, that's because you had lead foot. Well, you don't buy a car like that and then not drive it aggressively. So,
and those are sweet, man. The Oldsmobiles with the wood paneling on the side, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. Did you not have one of those?
I never had a
the
wagon.
regular kind.
I just had the regular.
Yeah.
I think 2-door coupe. So that it wasn't even 4-door.
Oh, you had the coupe, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. No, I had the big old wagon. And it had the rear, the tailgate opened up both ways, so you could lower it like a truck hatch, or you could open it sideways.
You were doing some stargazing out of the back of that baby.
It was pretty cool. It was cool. But actually, if you want to look up an even cooler car, there was an a Buick. What was the model? Shit, it was 1976. So before the Delta 88, it was a 76 Buick Electra, maybe, or something like that. The station wagon. It was very roundy, and it had a rear tailgate that power lowered into the body of the car. So it didn't open. It didn't like fold. It went basically up and down. It went into the car when it was open. That thing was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at the back of one of those here. I remember those.
Yeah.
Kind of, it was on like a track.
This is all like lost technology that we've never regained.
I know. It's like, what the hell happened to cars?
We had power freaking everything. Power trunks, power everything.
It was like magic.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 3 miles to the gallon, but it was magic.
Oh, if we were lucky. I think I was probably doing around 10, 11 miles to the gallon in the Delta 88 for sure.
But it was great. You'd go and you'd fill up with gas back then, and when it was like $1 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
was like, no big
I
deal.
found that microphone from the beginning of the episode that I've shipped out a bunch of. I'm looking here, man. I bought a bunch of these.
We're circling back.
We are kind of circling back, its brand is the Fi-Fine metal condenser recording microphone.
Oh, Bandrew just did a Fi-Fine review.
Really?
Yeah. He did one on a $40 dynamic, and he's like, well, I wouldn't put it at the top of the list. It sounds better than it deserves to.
Yeah. I would say that's the case. So it was the cheapest mic that sounds decent that I could afford to just ship out to people. And some people would say, well, that's a hell of an asshole move that you literally make other people change the microphone they use so that your ears feel better.
Oh, I would totally do that to you if I could. And I thought I could send you a better microphone.
You want to buy me a better mic? Go for it. I'll take it.
Let me send you a PR40.
Up on it. What?
Let me get you a Heil PR40, man.
I don't think it'll sound better, but you're more than welcome to send me one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The Fi-Fine makes a lot of microphones.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of Heil, and I'd certainly like their gold microphone. That would be the one I would get. But I've never really seen anybody other than people like Leo or John that really like them.
Well, I think they sound in the same category. I don't see that huge of a difference. The microphone you have, the 320, is definitely a little bit hotter, a little bit more airy. But as far as the RE20, the Heil PR40, and the Shure SM7B, man, you can throw a blanket over those. They all sound almost exactly the same. So it really depends which one you like the looks of. And I will say the RE20, for me anyway, is the best with the plosive and room rejection for other noises that you don't want. But there are ways around that. I mean, with the PR40, I always had the big foam ball on it, which is why I should.
RE20, I had an RE20 before I got the 320, but I sold mine on eBay along with the because I sold a few of my mics,
Neumann,
including my Neumann, yeah, which I use like 10 times.
Hello, Neumann. You took a bath on that one.
Not that much. I maybe lost $150.
Could be worse. I mean, you were going to sell it to me for even like $100.
I was going to sell a lot more than that. I was going to lose a lot more than that if I sold it to you, but you didn't want it.
No, it really, I have way too many microphones. You can only use one at a time. So,
well, that's not true.
I guess you're right. I could hook up plenty to the Motu.
So the RE20 is now selling for $450.
Well worth it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, at that point, I'd rather probably get the SM7B.
Hey, but it doesn't have the right look. You think it looks too stubby, where the RE20.
It does. The SM7B just looks stupid. I mean, you're just having wires coming out of the side of the microphone and not having a standard plug on it. It just...
I will say one of the best things that Electro Voice did was put the RE20 out in black rather than the grayish green that they've had for decades.
Yeah, the one that looks basically like any kind of radio cabinets from the 1960s. They were all that metallic green color.
Which was nice. I mean, it has a certain nostalgia to it, but...
It's an industrial looking mic.
Well, and it is, because you could beat somebody with it. They are heavy-duty microphones.
Yep, but the 320s was always black, and I've got mine mounted to a black colored stand, so it works well.
Nice shock mount going there.
Yeah, and I don't know why more people don't buy these. My shock mounts all have cables inside the inside of the not shock mount. What am I saying? My stand, my what do you call these things?
The boom arm.
The boom arm. It's the lamp style arm with the springs, but it has the wiring inside, which makes it look a lot cleaner.
Like, here comes the boom.
I don't know why people don't use more arms that have inner arm wiring conduits.
Because if something goes wrong, then you just use the external. You know, if something goes wrong with the mic
what's
cable.
What's going to go wrong?
If it's built poorly. I've heard of some of the cheaper boom arms that have the microphones, or I'm sorry, of the microphone cable inside.
Mm-hmm.
You bend it around enough, the cable gets twisted and maybe broken. And then, I mean, again, if it was built right, that should never happen. But
yeah,
it looks like Heil's gone black now too. They have a black PR40. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're probably like, oh wait, got to catch up. Or maybe Electro Voice was catching up to them. Like everybody wants the black matte finish microphone.
Maybe.
For those YouTube channels, they want to look good. Yeah,
it is amazing. I guarantee you there have been more SMB sounds purchased by YouTubers than by actual audio people. 100%.
And it drives me crazy. There was a Photoshop guy that when he was doing the main part of the video, it was obvious that he was speaking directly into the microphone. But for like his opening shot, you could see the SM7B and it was like 2 feet away from him and it sounded like crap. It's like, dude, you can't use that microphone and be 2 feet away from it and think it's going to sound good. Welcome to Mike Talk.
We should, does Bandrew have like a website or just YouTube channel?
He has a YouTube channel. He also has BandrewScott.com, I believe is his main website. We keep saying we should do a show together about mics and banter around.
Just about podcasting or something.
Yes, it is Bandrew Scott, SCOTT.com. You can find all of Bandrew's content from the Bandrew Says podcast, the Podcastage microphone reviews, and he also does things like when he's testing some of the microphones, he will read open source, books and that kind of thing, and release those as audio books. Got some cool content.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of his videos here.
Bembro says, instead, you guys just do regular shows about Bandrew. Well, see, that's part of the joy of the Seinfeld.
You keep bringing him up, so,
he is the microphone guy.
Then we got to talk about him.
There was, I think it was new because it was on YouTube, that it was Seinfeld with Michael Richards going to get coffee. And I was like, oh, this is like our show.
Yeah, how dare they?
And they went out and they're wherever they were, and they're like just walking down the street and people are kind of like looking at them. I don't know. I might have like an aneurysm if I'm like, is that Seinfeld and Kramer, walking down the street?
Really? Why would you have an aneurysm?
Be like, it's a little weird. You would not be expected.
Like a fat bald guy walking next to a tall guy? How's that weird?
Is that you and I walking down the street?
If you lose enough weight.
Thanks. That would be good.
How's that going?
It's actually, I haven't been on a scale, but the pants are definitely roomier. Well, at least at the waist.
Could be because they stretch.
Could be.
Check a scale.
It's denim. And I
bought a new set of weights.
It's the daily exercise that does
I love
help.
Getting free shipping from Amazon on
very heavy weights. Things.
No, that's specifically things that are just their only purpose is to be heavy.
Right. They're weights. And then they're like, we'll deliver that for free.
Yeah. I'm like, how? The shipping on that has got to be about half the price.
Well, we had that when we moved. This was Amazon, not in its infancy, but we moved into this house in, I think it was 2009. So 14 years ago or so. And we ordered a Kohler sink for the one bathroom. And we ordered it in black. And UPS delivered it for Amazon because Amazon didn't have their own folks then.
Yeah.
And we realized immediately it was the white or biscuit, not the black color. So they had to send UPS back to pick that up and send another sink out. It's like, there's no doubt you lost money on shipping. Not only lost money on shipping, it's like you probably lost big money overall because that can't be cheap for UPS because these things weigh like 50, 60 pounds. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. But that's it. You got to.
So he's doing videos on non-audio stuff now.
Well, he does a weekly podcast, which covers social media. That's kind of what the Bandrew Says thing covers. He also answers microphone questions and that, but it's basically the news he covers is anything about what's going on the social media platforms, the Podcastage channel, all microphones all the time. But then he's got a channel about not a lot of content, but he has a watch channel. He has a music channel that he plays and does covers and stuff like that. Because he was in a band back in the day. Channel? Yeah, he collects watches.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
You collect watches too?
No.
But now you
No,
might.
I don't. No, I've got watches that I don't wear, but I don't collect watches.
Because these were the old-fashioned watches that didn't have a little computer chip in them, that didn't tell you what your blood pressure was. The old-fashioned kind.
I got rid of all my expensive watches when I got divorced.
Well, see, there you go. Now, by getting rid of them, do you mean that the ex-wife had them, or you?
No. I sold them.
You're like, I need money for food.
Yeah, kind of. But also it was just like, she gave me the watches, so it kind of seemed like it was a good idea to get rid of them.
You didn't want those painful memories.
That, and then, like, I got sick of having to adjust my watches. Like, as good as a Rolex is, it does not keep time the same way that a cheap electronic watch keeps time.
Is it right? Because it's not about keeping time. It's about, hey, look, Gene has a Rolex.
Yeah.
Really,
I didn't have the solid gold one. I just had the regular style one, and I could see if you've got the full on solid gold one, because you're basically wearing a bracelet that has a watch in it.
True.
Because the gold on the bracelet's worth more than the mechanism. But I don't know. I thought it was cool. I think it's like one of those things where, it makes you feel like you've hit a certain landmark or whatever in your career when you're wearing a Rolex.
You're like, I am fancy. I have a Rolex.
But I also missed my electronic watches.
Well, there's something to be said.
It's not a big deal.
The first time we had and it was for my parents, an electronic wall clock, because otherwise, if the power went out, you had to go back and reset it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, daylight savings time. The first one that just used the radio signals, that the thing rebooted itself and it had the right time, was like, oh, that's so much better.
Oh, yeah, dude. So I have a Citizen watch that used the radio signal for adjusting itself. This watch was freaking awesome. It was a Citizen I bought in Japan on a trip.
You can buy Citizens?
Yeah, absolutely. In Japan you can, not in the US.
Okay. Human trafficking laws are different.
Hey. We don't refer to them as human. We refer to them as watches.
Oh, okay.
But this thing was awesome. So it was one of the first watches that used the radio signal that is no longer there. Apparently Obama shut it down.
Really? Oh,
so
damn.
we no longer have a radio signal to set our watches to. I got this thing back in the 90s, and I think it was like 98 or 99. I can't remember. Probably 98. So this is like 25 years ago. And it's a solar watch, so it still runs. It had to get shipped back once because they had a bug in there for 2010 for some reason. 2010 reset, like I guess nobody expected in 1999 to have a watch run past 2010. Like the calendar would have messed up, so I had to ship it back. They fixed the firmware in it. And as far as I know, it still runs. I mean, it's sitting on in a lighted area, so it's still moving. It's just there's no more signal for it to synchronize to. But it was really cool because that watch, before people had iPhones, before any of that crap, when I traveled, this watch would automatically adjust the time zone because it was smart enough to know where you were, including flying to Japan. So U.S., Japan. I can't remember if it did Europe or not. Probably not. But it would automatically adjust the time zone. So it was a really cool watch. I liked it a lot. But it also did not have it was an analog watch with digital features.
It's interesting to me how quick we become dependent, not really dependent, but so used to something. I had not worn a watch in probably 15 or 20 years when I got this Apple Watch less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It is utterly amazing to me when I
Yes.
put the thing on to charge, which is under an hour each day,
Mm-hmm.
how many times I'm looking at my wrist like, oh, what time is it? What's the temperature? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's not there. It's like, oh my God, I've
Dude,
totally been.
This is literally why I had two of them.
You said one for each wrist. So that way.
No, I just swap them out. So I would take one watch off the charger, put it on, and put the other one on the charger.
Nice.
And that way I always had a watch on, and I never had to go watch less with an Apple Watch. But the prices started going up, so I couldn't really continue having two of those in perpetuity.
They're finally coming down now, which
They
they
are?
should. Yeah.
That's good. I still have one left. But of course now, like most of my friends that are all Apple people have gotten the new Apple one. What is it? The Pro or the?
Well, there's like the Ultra,
the bigger
but it's
version.
even right. I don't
The
like
Ultra. Yeah,
it's
that's
like
what it
so
is.
damn. The face is so thick. I'm like, I have a big
Mhm.
wrist, and it's like I don't want that.
I don't know, man. That the watch I'm wearing makes all the Apple Watches look tiny.
Hey, now you got watch envy.
No, I don't have watch envy. Other people might though. I've got that Garmin, which is
A computer
both
on your wrist.
thicker and bigger than the Apple Watch.
But it can do your blood pressure. Now that we were going to get back
Well,
around
no, it
to as
can't
well.
do. I'm being facetious.
That's close, though. I know they're close with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how they're going to do it because I know they have sensors that will do this now that still need to be like reset or recalibrated weekly. And they're saying it's not going to be long before they don't need that part.
I'll tell you the thing that the Apple Watch can actually do with the help of the phone is talk to a continuous blood sugar monitoring system. And I don't have one of those, but I've looked at them in the past. And a buddy of mine just got signed up for having one of those. So I'm more seriously thinking of buying one of those things. Which literally is plugged into you. Like it's a needle with a little radio transmitter, and it sends continuous blood sugar information to your phone, which then can be shown on your watch.
I've seen these things advertised, which is life-saving for people that if your sugar drops quick, you get a...
It tells you or whatever. But I honestly, the way that I know when my blood sugar is going down is I start yawning and closing my eyes.
So during this podcast, every show, you're like...
I mean, usually not, but immediately after the podcast, yeah, usually.
So like when you were talking to Bemrose on the last show, where you're like...
I was eating. I was actively eating while I was talking to him. Did you not notice?
I didn't listen. You think I have time to listen to a
You
2-hour
bastard.
show?
You don't even listen to my shows.
Was I
God
supposed to? I could read the transcript and then I
How
could
do you
guess.
produce a show without listening to it? You just chuck it into an automatic filter and then just upload?
It's like an AI, baby.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you told me to look for some point where everybody took a pee break, but I
And you
did
didn't even
not.
look.
I did
Clearly.
not find any long.
I noticed, yes.
Any sign. What I did do is went through the normal. If it's over a second of silence, cut it down to
Get
a
rid of it.
second.
Yeah, so you got rid of the part that would have indicated where that part was. Good job.
See, that was all the editing that needed to be done.
Remind me
Bemrose-
not to hire you as an audio editor.
Bemrose said it was disturbing and distracting that you were eating during the show.
Yeah, I'm sure he thought that, but he didn't say anything.
Of course, he says I was too professional to call him out. So that's exactly what he
too
said.
professional.
You guys are the same person.
Mm-hmm.
You say exactly the same things.
Pretty much. So nobody really noticed that I was eating. I mentioned that I was eating sushi while we were doing the podcast.
Oh, sushi too. Wow, that's like the ultimate in douchebaggery meal.
What? I love sushi. What are you talking about?
Okay, to be fair, as I've mentioned before, I've never had, so I can't really say one way or the other.
You've never had sushi?
I never have, no.
I mean, you are in Chicago, so
Right.
they don't really have sushi, but
Well, there is the grocery store that's walking distance from here has a guy that I'm sure he's not real good, but he shows up like every Monday, and it's like Sushi Monday, and they have like the little stand, and they do the fresh sushi, and I've just never tried.
well, do me a favor and don't let that be your first sushi experience.
You
If
don't
get
want
sushi.
random
Go
guy
to a
in the
nice
grocery
fancy
store.
sushi restaurant. You're not going to die, but it's just taste wise. You deserve to have that first experience be something that you'll go, ooh, this is really good.
Right, because otherwise you never go back to it.
Never had this. Yeah, if you only have grocery store sushi, and believe me, there are times when you just want to grab something quick, and it's fine. You'll get some grocery store sushi, but don't do that the first time you have it.
Last week on Saturday, had a nice 33-ounce Delmonico steak.
That's a pretty big steak.
It is. I was surprised. I'm like 33 ounces. Obviously, that's what I got to get. It's an old steakhouse that is close to my parents. It's been there since 1922 it was. So it's been there for over 100 years now. We were surprised they made it because they totally shut down for 2 years during COVID and then came back. And the place the place was packed. So people are spending a lot of money on food. No doubt about that. But we went out with my parents because it was their 62nd anniversary, which is that's a lot of years.
I didn't realize you were 62 years old.
No, I'm only 53.
What did they do the first decade?
Well, there's my older sister, and then they were thinking we don't want any more of these, but
probably
you know how it goes. But it was a good steak, and people were like, "Damn!" Out in the middle of the suburbs, people are spending $100 a piece to go eat. Which, I mean, in Austin is like what, a Coke and a hot dog.
That's $15.
Easy. Well, if you want a cheap hot dog.
Yeah. Except
But
at
that was
Costco.
nice.
At Costco, it's like $2 for the hot dog and $1 for the soda.
And then I finally had to go get a haircut, which was the first time I've had a haircut in like a year. I mean, I was looking like a hippie, man.
I was envisioning you looking like a hippie.
Yeah. The hair is finally short, which is better. But I guess I'm a procrastinator. That I don't think is any question about that one. And I don't like talking to people that I don't know. So the whole I need a new barber.
Well, you are
thing.
a shut-in, so that makes total sense.
Right. And I drove myself to the barber. That was great. And then went and got a nice big steak burrito because why wouldn't you? But it's like I start just reading all of the reviews, and it's very hard to find a old school barber shop.
Oh yeah.
Which is what I was going to for years. Like the guy that cut my hair was probably doing it since I just got out of high school. And I was really in need of a haircut by January of this year. And that's when I showed up, and it's like, oh, they're gone. Closed up. And so I'm like, okay, now where do I want to go? And they're all like beauty salons, or they want to be cutesy about it.
Yeah.
So I finally found a barber, and I'm like, at least I called up. I'm like, you guys do walk-ins? Oh, no, appointment only. I'm like, well, okay. I guess I can't complain about that because they were ready the minute I walked in. But at least I found a barber. That was a big thing. First haircut in like a year.
Wow.
Feel like 10 pounds lighter, man, which is, it's a hell of a lot better when you're riding the bike, when you don't have the ponytail, the hair just all soaked in sweat.
Yeah. I've been cutting my own hair for many years.
Yeah. That razor, man.
Yeah. Works great.
Saves you. See how much money you save right there on haircuts?
I save enough money to like
buy random food. Chinese microphones.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's really easy. But the last barber haircut I had was in Kansas City, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And it was because I was walking around there, and I happened across a barber shop that looked like traditional barber shop. I walked in and I said, do you guys do straight edge razor? And they're like, yep, we can. I'm like, perfect. So I had them shave my head.
Did you leave bleeding, or they were good at what they did?
No, they were good. They were good.
Sir Bemero says
it's really hard to find people that do straight edge.
Oh yeah, because it takes skill, and it is dangerous if
it's not really dangerous, but there is that potential for blood.
Bemrose says, for your first sushi, just go with Gene. Excellent sushi and somebody else pays. So
Somebody else pays.
that sounds perfect to me.
Yes, we did. We went to sushi place when I was up there, and we met up for lunch.
Now, if we could mix sushi with like a good steak place, and at least if the sushi's not good, you just
Well, a lot of sushi places have really good steak because it's Japanese
little tempura action.
style. I mean, they can do tempura as well. It's not really a steak, but tempura just means country fried.
Ooh, everything should be country fried.
Yeah. So if you want to do like tempura steak, you could do that, but that's basically ordering a chicken fried steak here.
Can you get a double chicken fried steak or a fried steak double chicken fried?
The only one that's double, which is funny sounding, is chicken fried chicken.
Yes. You're like,
It's
wait a
kind of
minute.
like, well, why do you say chicken fried? Why don't you just say fried chicken?
Yes, because it's
Instead
different.
of chicken fried chicken. But even chicken fried steak sounds funny if you think about it.
Yes. You're like, wait, is there chicken in this? No.
Yeah.
But
There's
it's
no
chicken
chicken in the but you fry it up like a chicken.
Ah, see, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's steak prepared in a chicken fry manner.
Which
And there is a plate. My favorite place for that is actually not here in Austin. They don't really have a good place for that here. It's in Dallas and Houston too. I think there's a restaurant called Babes.
oh, well, that sounds like a Hooters or something.
It does sound like it, but it's not. Babes is a home style, country kitchen style restaurant. And what that means is that, like, inside the restaurant is a bunch of picnic tables. And so you sit on these tables along with some random people.
So it's all family style.
It's very family style. And then they bring you a salad, some best freaking salad too. It's literally like a chopped lettuce salad, but with vinegar and sugar. And
Wait. Okay, I
so
understand
good.
the vinegar. You're adding sugar to a salad.
It's sweet vinegar. It's like that's the sauce is the sweet vinegar sauce on the salad. It's surprisingly tasty.
Nothing makes a salad healthier than adding a cup of sugar.
I know, right? Cup of white sugar helps everything taste better. And then all the extras are family style. So you bring plate of okra, plate of green beans, plate of coleslaw, plate of whatever, mashed potatoes, all that stuff. And then you can get different things like chicken fried chicken or chicken fried steak, or I think there's a couple other entrees, but not a whole lot. But it is very tasty, very good tasting. Their cream corn's really good. And I always enjoy, like when I had visitors coming when I lived in Dallas, I would always take them to that place. Because it's like, and it's not like an actual old restaurant. It's a chain, obviously. So they're all brand new buildings, but they're all made to look like they've been around for 100 years.
Give it a little bit of an extra style to it.
Well, I don't know if style is quite the right word.
Vibe.
Yeah. It's a vibe is a good word. Yeah, let's go with vibe. Exactly.
Now, have you ordered your lunch for today? Have you ordered your groceries?
Not. No. Do you want me to order? No, I got groceries yesterday, so I'm not getting any more. I actually did a test of protein bars. So I ordered like 7 different protein bars yesterday.
Which were the favorites? I've tried a few recently, and they're very hit and miss, man. Some of them taste like dog food.
Yep. Totally hit and miss. Ironically, the one that I like the taste of the most, they're all chocolate flavored. I got so for better comparison, direct comparison, I guess. But the one that I like the most, ironically, has the least carbs in it.
Well, that's perfect.
It only has like 170 calories from carbs.
Well, because some you look at and you're like, well, this is not healthy at all.
Yeah, no, but it's got like 300 calories from fat and like another couple hundred from protein.
What was the winning brand? Which one?
Well, that's why you want me to look it up. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
I thought you would. I thought you'd have a whole box sitting right in front
It's
of
in
you.
the kitchen. It's sitting in
all
the
the
kitchen.
way in the kitchen. Damn.
And I'm not in the kitchen doing this recording, obviously.
Not this time. Only with
But
with Bemrose.
I never record in the kitchen.
You
dude.
can
The
nosh a
sound
little.
would be pretty bad in there.
Be like,
I don't
yeah,
think
get
sound
the
would be good.
little bit of an echo.
I can get the look up the brand here online, I think. It was the Power Crunch Pro Triple Chocolate High Protein Bar.
Power Crunch, is that the name of the brand?
Yeah, Power Crunch is a company name. I will send you a link presently so you can look at it if you give a shit.
Yeah, I've got they've got those at our local grocery store. You can get peanut butter fudge. You can get chocolate mint.
I gave you a link in Signal.
Triple chocolate. Ooh.
Triple chocolate. It tastes, I think, better than all the other ones. It has no sugar alcohol, which means it's not going to upset your stomach. It ain't cheap. Couple bucks a bar.
Ooh, what are you paying for the 5 count?
$7.78.
$7.09 here in our Hamlet.
Is that I think it's a 4 count.
It says 5 count, unless you guys are only getting 4s.
We're getting 4. Yeah.
Wait, you're getting 4 for $7.90?
Yeah.
We're getting 5 for $7.09. I should just be sending these out to you. Pack them up.
You should. Exactly. Yeah, that's the Power Crunch Pro. It's not the regular Power Crunch, the Pro Power Crunch.
Oh, wait, there's a Power Crunch Pro. This is just Power Crunch triple chocolate.
Yeah, no, this is a Power Crunch Pro.
Oh, well, I want to be pro, Gene.
We got the pro version of the chocolate protein bar here.
This is what happens when somebody puts out a good product and they're like, well, what do we do now? Hey, let's add pro.
Yeah. Yeah. The word pro lets you reduce the count and increase the price.
Uh-huh. And people will go crazy about it.
What's the weight of your product?
Let's see here. Just looking at the one you had, which was what, a 2 ounce? No, 2 ounce a piece, right? 2 ounce a bar.
Same exact thing. Yep. 2 ounce a piece.
This one is, let's see, Power Crunch triple chocolate. How you doing, everybody? We're doing some grocery shopping here.
Mm-hmm.
This one has, I don't know if it says on the front of the box. I see 13 grams of protein. It's 2 ounces.
Has 20 grams of protein.
Oh, well, see, that's even better. They are in 2 ounces. That is the pro advantage right there.
The pro advantage gives you 20 ounces of protein, only 14 carbs, and 22 grams of fat.
And it tastes good. That's the biggest thing right there.
It is the best. It's interesting because it has the most fat and the least carbs of all the different protein bars I'm trying. So, and of course, the reason I'm trying the protein bars is because I ordered a new set of weights, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, what were those all about?
Now, if I'm lifting weights, that's an excuse to eat protein bars.
You're like, you have to lift them like more than one lift every month to be like.
I thought it was a lift per bite. Wasn't that how it works?
It might be
1 bite, 2 bite,
then 1 lift, 1 bite, 1 lift. I got to bulk up, man.
That's right.
Got to build these muscles going.
Have you been watching Timcast?
Who?
Tim Pool.
Oh no, I didn't even. If you don't mention him, I don't even know he exists.
He's pretty big on the recommendations on YouTube. I'm surprised you haven't been recommended him.
I do not get his recommendations. And I had subscribed to him for a while and then was like, no, can't.
Mm-hmm.
Not interesting.
He's had guest hosts on for about a week.
Oh, were you on? Were you guest hosting?
And you missed it.
That would have been awesome. I'll go look for it on YouTube. No, I didn't. Was it Scrub?
He's had your buddy Seamus on as a guest host.
I've never seen Seamus. I don't know who he is.
Seamus is very pro-Ireland.
Well, I mean, you should be pro-Ireland.
Uh-huh. And he's very Seamusy. And he's like one of those Catholic tapes. And he's the guy that does the Freedom Tunes, if you've seen those.
I have not.
You ever seen Freedom Tunes? You're kidding.
Nope.
Oh, they're very cute little witty cartoons. They're kind of like no agenda cartoons, except on other topics.
I have not seen
check
them
out.
I believe you.
So, Freedom Tunes definitely worth subscribing to, but Seamus is quite the character. He's the president of the company or the owner or the cartoonist, if you will.
I'm not just the president of the company.
Yeah.
I'm a customer too.
He was running Timcast, and they had some good guests on, including just, I think yesterday or the day before, not sure. They had the little Indian guy running for president.
Ramaswamy?
Yeah, the
little Indian guy running for president.
Rikander Raswamy, I think that's his name, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Gene
guy.
at SirGene.com.
I like his stuff. I think I'm going to write him in.
He probably is better than most.
Yeah, no, he's definitely saying the right things. And all kidding aside about screwing up weird Indian names, which is funny. I kind of wish he actually could get elected. I don't think he can get elected, but I wish he could, because the stuff that he's saying is very much in line with what all of us collectively in the No Agenda family have been saying.
And do you think he can't get elected strictly because of his ethnicity or what?
Well, first of all, he's young. He's like in his late 30s.
That is a check mark. Although we've heard, we don't want these old white guys anymore.
Oh, I definitely don't want any more old white guys or old women or any women. So
okay, that's a sexist thing there, but okay.
No, that's not sexist. What, wanting to have a better country is sexist these days?
You don't think any women would be capable of running the country?
No.
Okay.
It's not a qualification a woman has to go through. But he's definitely saying good stuff, like shutting down the FBI, shutting down the IRS, shutting down all these agencies that you don't need.
Well, these agencies that appear to have been completely corrupted, which it's one thing. You can have a debate on whether or not you think the IRS is needed. I mean, the FBI was surely needed at one point, and I think a non-corrupt FBI can be very useful. Maybe. Right. But I still think a non-corrupt
the problem with all these agencies is they become self-serving. Their primary mission is the continuation of the agency's mission. Like, their existence is the main reason that they exist. It has nothing to do with solving a problem. This is why Department of Homeland Security and the TSA that was created in the wake of the, now we all know, fake attack on the United States, that that was an excuse for creating these massive monstrosities of government agencies. They will never go away because they are too big to fail, and they're too big in having a lot of people working on the mission of preserving that agency from ever going away. They're really they're leeches. That's what they are. They're it's like those remora fish that attach themselves to the sharks, and so they don't have to swim because the shark does all the swimming, and then the shark kills something.
Right. People are like, that's what you're doing.
Oh, look at that. We're right next door. We could just go and eat off of that.
People that think that's what you're doing on this show. I forget who it was. Was it R. Davis? Somebody that came up with the ultimate burn when you're like, we're not doing a show because Darren, his back is out. And the guy was like, yeah, from carrying the show. Like,
yeah, from carrying the show. That guy doesn't listen to the show, so I don't give a shit about it.
I don't care. That was the greatest line that I've seen just pop right back out. Like, damn.
I mean, it is marginally funny, but clearly the person does not listen, because Bemrose and I both agreed that when we do our shows with you, you definitely are the co-host, because
sure,
we speak for a good 80% of the time and you speak about 20% of the time.
Is that how it goes?
So how does the carrying happen exactly when you're not actually talking?
I thought it was the other way around. I need to pull those stats.
No, it's not the other way around. Are you kidding? Now, on your solo show, you might do most of the talking.
Who else would be talking?
Maybe. I'm not even sure about that one, frankly. But
just the voices in my head.
On the two shows that have Bemrose and I on them, we're talking way more.
Well, see, you both like to interrupt, so I'm surprised you two can even do a show together. It's not a matter of interrupting.
It's just a matter of that we have more important things to say.
More important, yes. Vital things.
What are you going to chime in with?
You're like, I bought some protein
I got
bars.
a tooth replaced.
Yes.
Yay.
Right now it's got the whatever they put in there for like 3 weeks to, the poison.
That was not an invitation to actually talk about your tooth.
Yeah, it was. It's great. And then Then they have to get the permanent crown back on there. And the guy's like, well, you should probably, the endodontist is like, oh, you may want to send a letter, call the other dentist and see if they'll pay out, because the insurance company's like, nope, we just paid on a root canal. It's like, well, yeah, but it's the same one.
Yeah. No, you should sue them. That's the only way it works. Right, they have insurance. They'll pay. With
the amount of time that you're probably right. It should at least go to a small claims and be like, hey, you charged me for this. It didn't done right.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
although you probably signed something when you were filling out paperwork for the dentist that says you won't sue them.
Probably. That's like, oh, if we totally fuck up, don't worry about it.
Not our fault.
Yeah. You always got to be looking at those things.
Yeah.
Not that they really matter, because you can make the case that, well, they handed this to me 30 seconds before treatment and said, sign here.
Mm-hmm.
But hey,
yeah,
I get it. It's a weird world, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know that if I was a dentist, I'd want to insure my work either, because like there's definitely stuff they could miss.
Yes. Although in this case, it was kind of a comedy of errors, where the crown was oversized. The bite was wrong because I kept biting my cheek. And then they tried to shave down the tooth above it, which is going to need a root canal now, because all of a sudden it's super sensitive to cold, which it never was before. So
yeah.
I think the female dentist, I don't want a female dentist anymore. You don't want a female president. I don't want a female dentist, because I went in and got more problems than what I originally went in with.
My best dentist ever was a female.
You got lucky, man.
She was awesome. I'll tell you why. She worked as a dental hygienist for about 8 years and then went to dentist school. And so she knew what all the hygienists are doing and what the dentists are doing well and what they're doing poorly by the time she went to dentist school. Because you got to remember, most dentists just go to dentist school out of college.
Right.
They have zero experience. And then who's going to tell a dentist at their own office that they're doing something wrong? Nobody.
Until they have the bodies start piling up.
Yeah, exactly. Until the lawsuits started happening. But this is why I think it's good to see somebody that had already worked in the profession, or in the industry rather, but not in the profession. So I was very happy with her. She did a whole bunch of crowns for me. I just had her like crown up my whole mouth.
You're like, I don't even need them, but you're pretty good at this.
Yeah, no, that's literally what we did. We just proactively put on a bunch of crowns.
You're like, you're pretty. Can you put some more crowns in, please?
She had the most soothing music playing in their office. It was great. Get a nice little massage.
That would be nice. That's an interesting dental.
Does your dental office not have massage service?
No, I think you're
no champagne either.
I think you're thinking of something else. I will say,
no. This was a nice suburban dental office with
during
a fireplace, a massage, champagne.
My root canal redo at the endodontist. I heard no less than 3 Taylor Swift songs. I was like, oh, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect.
You probably heard them in your own head.
Probably. That's
weren't actually playing.
I was just hearing them. It's just,
yeah.
Go to your happy place.
Your brain is like, this is the worst pain I've ever felt. My mind has to be flown out of here.
It wasn't. See, that's it. When the guy does it, man, he is magic. This dude, Dr. Sunny, who's an Indian endodontist, great guy.
Oh, nice. Also a disc jockey, clearly.
Probably. But I was like, hey, I told him the last time that we had the AFib kind of a thing. So we're like, I'll give you this without the epinephrine, because that's what causes when you do the Novocaine kind of a thing.
Right.
He's like, and it's going to be a short thing. And when he does these root canals, they're done in like 35, 40 minutes. I'm like, damn, you know what you're doing.
I've only had one and it didn't end well.
Oh, see, you're like, I don't want another one of those.
Well, it wasn't her fault though. By the time she did the root canal, she realized the tooth had a crack in it.
Then you got issues.
So that's just going to get infected. So that got yanked out.
Well, then you just put a fake one in. Adam Curry's taking his new teeth soon, I hear.
Dude, this has been like, I'm definitely like, I'm long overdue for a visit. Every time I talk to Tina, she's like, when are you coming out? I'm like, when you guys invite me. But I'm not even going to ask or wait for an invitation. As soon as he gets his teeth in, I'm just going to drive out there because this $1 million mouth I got to see in person. Because the amount of work and man hours that he's described as this thinking.
Yes, it's a procedure. It's not a quick little thing.
Somebody didn't just buy a car. Somebody bought a new house.
And a nice house.
If
with a fully stocked wine cellar.
If this costs less than $80,000, I'll be shocked.
Nice. But he found that the problems that he was having, he didn't even realize were affected by the teeth. So that is a cautionary tale to everybody. It's like, go to the dentist, get checked out, find a dentist that's good, obviously.
And it's hard to do that. The only really good way is to word of mouth.
Yes. Because the reviews online all lie.
Yeah, they do. You cannot believe reviews online. Absolutely. Agree with you on that.
And it's always interesting to see when a place like the dentist that I had the issue with, they had great reviews, and it was a practice that was purchased from the original guy, the original dentist who retired. And so I just missed him by like a few months, it seems. And what I've noticed is that up until that point, there weren't a whole lot of reviews, which I would expect from a dentist out in the Chicago suburbs. There's not a lot of, new people coming in. There's not a lot of reason to be doing dental reviews.
I love how you still pretend to live in Chicago when it's convenient, and then you always swear that you don't live in Chicago.
Outside of Chicago,
something gets mentioned.
Not even in the same county. But,
exactly.
There's not a lot.
It's not a Chicago dentist.
No, it's not. It's in the Chicago suburbs. Chicago.
Not really.
No, it is. It's a suburb. You could look it up. What happened once I had the issues and then went back to look, because I did not leave a negative review, but a few other people left negative reviews for them. All of a sudden, a plethora of good reviews starts showing up. Like, wait a minute, this seems a little weird. They
just bought those.
Or they asked every customer that came in for a cleaning, which, any idiot, sorry, that's rude to everybody that does their job well. But for the people that are doing the teeth cleanings, they are not going to fuck up your mouth.
No.
So the whole thing, like, oh, they did great. They did it. It's like, no, if you just look at the reviews on when they had to do something a little bit tougher, like a root canal, then you'll start seeing the issue. But which is why we've talked about that with the Amazon reviews. When there's more than one item in a page for a review, it's like, you got to really look carefully. If everybody that's happy is like, oh yeah, great teeth cleaning. It's like, well, then you want to think twice about the surgical capabilities, perhaps, of.
And you find this with electronics on Amazon a lot. I've seen this for like TV sets. You'll have people complaining about something, or they're talking about how awesome something is. And then for some of them, they'll happen to mention that, this is the worst 22-inch TV I've ever had. Like, well, I'm looking at a page for a 47-inch TV. Why is this review for 22-inch popping up?
Because Amazon lets them put multiple products on one page. And a lot of the times the products aren't even related.
Right.
Which I kind of understand. If you're replacing one year's TV with another, maybe they let you use the same page or
They
SKU.
shouldn't.
I would agree, because it doesn't mean the quality's the same.
Right.
But somebody will go get 1,000.
Did you miss the Kasori sale that was happening?
I have a brand new one sitting here that we haven't even started using yet because of the recall.
Right. But so you missed the sale?
Yeah. Why would I need more? What was going on? What was the sale?
Like the Kasori rice cooker was on sale.
I do not have one of those.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Do I need one?
Yeah, of course.
I don't cook a lot of rice, but I could.
Well, if you started making sushi, you would.
I would rather make fried rice, but that sounds a lot less healthy.
Well, fried rice still needs a rice cooker.
I know.
Right?
Which is all I would do if I had one. I'd love fried rice.
You know how to make it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't, but I know how to make it. I do not make it, but I've watched videos on YouTube of professionals making the fried rice.
I'll send you a video on YouTube.
Nice and easy. I've got a wok. I mean, we'll just throw the stuff in, boom, bang, bang.
Yeah. So it needs day-old rice. That's the first ingredient.
And you want the good soy sauce. You don't want the crap. You want like there's some kind of special soy sauce you want. But otherwise, you throw your meat in, you throw your onion in. I wish I had a good Chinese place in the
Shallot.
area here. Yeah, Shallot. There was when I was working at Radio Shack back in the day, down in Chicago. It was actually Chicago, like 66th and Pulaski in Chicago. There was a Chinese restaurant right next door.
Mhm.
And the food was so damn good. And they tried to kill me, but it was just because I kept upping the heat level. That was back when my stomach was a little bit better, back being in the in your 20s when you were indestructible. And I'd go in there and they made
I remember those days.
they made the best hot and sour soup. And I used to go in and be like, "Oh, hot and sour soup, how hot?" I'm like, "Extra hot." They're like, "Extra hot?" And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, let me tell you, man, you were sweating immediately, but it was so good.
Impress them with how your ability of eating hotness, and you don't get hot or triple hot or extra hot. You get Thai hot.
Thai hot.
You tell them how hot you want. You say Thai hot. Thai hot? You say, yeah, Thai hot. You sure?
Right. Yes. There's a waiver.
You don't look dark enough to eat that.
No.
That gets you the really hot stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I love Asian spice. I can't eat Mexican spices, but I love Asian spices.
They are delicious. And I've had those where you're sitting in the restaurant and you can see a few of the employees like peeking out to look to see if we're dying. Yeah. Which today I probably would, but no. Need to work up that tolerance again.
I guess. I don't know. I think that the eating really spicy foods is really good for you.
It's a young man's game, though.
I don't know, dude. You're saying that. I don't think you got a basis for it, though.
Need to try it again and see if my, innards blow out.
They won't. Well, they may blow out, but they have an escape hole to blow out of.
This is true.
So that's all right.
There's a whole system in place.
Yeah, exactly. It'll clean you right out. It's good for you. In fact, it's like getting a super clean, super jets going through there.
Yeah, it's like your body going through a whole detox just with the hot pepper.
It is, and I hate the word detox because it's mostly bullshit that people use that word incorrectly. But what definitely happens when you eat spicy foods,
which is a toxin, which is why your body's going, ooh.
It's not really a toxin. It really isn't. It's a stimulant, is what it is. It's a nerve stimulant. But the reaction that you get as a result of that, with your sweatings and your pores are just opening up and dumping a lot of fluid out of there, and your your heart beating faster, and it's a very, very good cleansing kind of thing that can be done anytime. Like, it doesn't require any special equipment. It doesn't require a bunch of weights that you're lifting to get to the same effect.
No exercise.
Sitting in a sauna.
Nope.
It's like you can literally take it with you, and it can't just be something hot. It's got to be like something hot and gingery, and have. This is why I like Asian spices. Like, it's a mix of things. So you might have mint and lemongrass and ginger and curry, and it's just like, and turmeric, and it's just like turns on everything in your mouth and in your stomach. And unfortunately, if you get really good spicy stuff, it'll turn it on in your ass as well.
Well, tell us what turns on your mouth, and we will be back for another edition of Unrelenting next week. Same unrelenting time, same unrelenting channel.
You like how we ended there on turns on your ass?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, this is podcasting excellence, Gene. Podcasting excellence.
Yeah, nobody else times their podcasts on the hour the way we do.